So, you just got hearing aids. Congratulations, that's a huge step. And welcome to the part that nobody warns you about. Your own voice sounds weird. The fridge sounds like it has a personality of its own, and paper almost kind of sounds like it's attacking you. And you're sitting there wondering, well, did I just make a really expensive mistake? Maybe not. Some things after being fit with hearing aids are completely normal, and others are just a sign that you need an adjustment. So today, let's look at what's a normal adjustment versus what's a red flag when getting used to wearing hearing aids. My name is Dario 𝗪𝗹𝗹. I'm a doctor of audiology, and I've helped hundreds of people in the Toronto area to achieve better hearing and solve complex cases of hearing loss. And today, we're going to dive in and understand what's normal about wearing hearing aids for the first time and what needs to be adjusted. First, let's talk about what's normal. Your own voice will sound different. With every hearing aid fitting that I do, the one thing that always pings people attention is, oh, I sound different, or my voice sounds weird to me. And that makes sense. Some people say they sound echoey, plugged up, or they kind of are talking with their head in a barrel. And wearing hearing aids, I think that's a normal reaction. And there's reasons why. I always tell people your own voice is going to sound strange to you, and that's normal, but you're going to get used to it. And there's a reason why. So, when you first start wearing hearing aids, your ears and your brain are hearing all of the sound that either it's been missing out on or hasn't been hearing as clearly as you should have been hearing it. So, this is all a very new experience. And so, the ability for you to hear me more clearly or your family more clearly or watching TV easier is also impacting the sound of your own voice. So, as much as you're hearing the people and the things around you better, that adjustment from the hearing aid is also going to change what your own voice sounds like to you, purely because you're hearing more qualities of your own voice than you're used to. Now, I often tell people, I want to see you back in about 2 to 3 weeks for a follow up because over those first few weeks, as long as you're consistently wearing your hearing aids, you're going to start to notice a lot of change, mainly with the sound of your own voice. If by that first follow up, you know what, you're still finding that it's just hard to get used to your voice, there's adjustments that can be done. I tell people all the time, your first follow up is going to be one of the most important appointments we do because that's going to go based on your experience of wearing the hearing aids. Where do we need to make adjustments to tailor them better for you? So, when it comes to the sound of your own voice, I can make adjustments in the software. Sometimes it's the type of piece that's sitting in your ear. Are you wearing a dome? Is that dome open or closed? Are you wearing a custom ear mold on the end of your receiver? Or are you wearing a custom hearing aid only in the ear? Those are all factors that are going to play a role. So, as an audiologist, if you're finding that the sound of your own voice is very strange or unnatural, even after we make adjustments in the software, I can adjust the dome. I can adjust the venting in your custom products. So when you come in for your follow-ups, we're taking a look at what your experience has been like and tailoring your hearing aids for you. But hearing the sound of your own voice differently is a totally normal experience wearing hearing aids. But here's the key, and this is what I want you to remember. It should improve or it's adjustable. The answer shouldn't be, well, you just have to live with it. Two, everyday sounds may sound sharp at first. Again, that's normal. Dishes, keys, running water, crinkling bags, often reminding people going to the bathroom or flushing a toilet, these are all going to sound different. You may suddenly discover that your house has been building this documentary soundtrack the whole time. You have to imagine. Oftentimes, people are waiting years before they make that first step into wearing hearing aids. And as our hearing gradually decreases over time, as the person with the hearing loss, we often don't notice it. We get used to it. And so when we start wearing hearing aids for the first time and we're being introduced to all of those sounds that we've been missing out on, Oftentimes, the experience for the user is everything is really crisp or sharp, but it's important to note that that crispness or that sharpness is also what's helping you better understand speech. And that does not automatically mean that the hearing aids are wrong. Just because your hearing aids sound sharp or crisp doesn't mean that they're too loud or they're not set properly. It's your brain relearning to hear all of these sounds again. Now, hearing more sharp or crisp isn't a sign that your hearing aids are set wrong. It's a sign that your brain is being reintroduced to all of these sounds that it has not been hearing clearly or at all, probably for a long time. But again, uncomfortable is different than painful. I often tell people I would rather decrease the overall volume of your hearing aids so that they're comfortable to you, maybe understanding they may not be as clear as we like, but then we can gradually increase them over time once you start to feel more comfortable instead of feeling very overwhelmed. Because, of course, we want you to be hearing clearly while you're wearing hearing aids, but I don't want your experience of wearing hearing aids to feel very overwhelming. Our goal is to work with you to ensure that you benefit from wearing hearing aids, but you're also comfortable while you're wearing them. New sounds are normal, painful sounds are not. And again, that's why programming your hearing aids is so important. And you want to make sure your audiologist or your hearing healthcare provider is using real ear measurements. We do with all of our patients. Background noise may still be challenging. And I think this one surprises people. But think about it. Hearing aids aren't magic erasers. They're not designed to eliminate the background noise. They're going to help your brain access speech and sounds better, but things like chatter in the background noise, eating in a restaurant can still be somewhat difficult, especially family dinners. Everybody talks at the same time, the TV's on in the background, someone's yelling from another room, and someone's probably in the kitchen washing dishes like they're training for the Olympics. We have to consider that hearing aids are helpful tools, but the people we're interacting with and our environment also plays a role. New hearing aids are going to help to manage the background noise, but they're not going to delete it. And I tell people all the time, I have normal hearing. And depending on the environment, depending on how many people I'm with, sometimes I can still struggle to hear a noise. But you should find that noise is no longer the culprit for not hearing clearly. Although you may still notice the background noise, which is normal, you should still be able to have a conversation. Depending on the technology level, as an audiologist, I have access to how your hearing aids perform in background noise. We can make adjustments to manual programs, automatic programs. We can also discuss technology that has AI built into it, which has significantly improved people's ability to hear in noise. It's probably when one of the biggest changes in hearing aid technology in years. We've had patients who've been wearing hearing aids for 20 or 30 years, and we move them into newer products with better speech and noise processing. And they say they can now go into a restaurant and have a conversation. There's usually an adjustment period. Your ears collect sound, but your brain interprets it. If your brain has been missing certain sounds or words for years, it needs time to reorganize and understand all of this new sound that it's hearing. And that's why consistency matters. Consistently wearing your hearing aids is going to help you along in the adjustment period. The more you wear them, the sooner and the better adjusted you become. Wearing your hearing aids once in a while, or my favorite, I'll wear them when I think I need to wear them, is kind of like going to the gym every now and then and wondering why the dumbbells still feel rude. I tell people all the time, your hearing loss is going to exist no matter what you're doing. Whether you're sitting at home and it's a lazy day or you're out and about running errands and going for dinner, you should be wearing your hearing aids every day, all day. Now, let's talk about what's not normal. Red flag number one, physical pain. pressure, soreness, rubbing, scratches, sometimes even cuts. That's not normal. The hearing aid or the ear mold may need to be adjusted, or we may need to switch dome sizes or styles. Your receiver wire may be too long or too short, or I may need to modify your ear mold. Now, what I don't want you to do is feel like you have to tough it out because this is some heroic hearing aid boot camp. Going in to see your audiologist or your hearing healthcare provider is important because based on your experience of wearing them and feedback, that's going to be how we adjust them. So when you come in for your appointment, it's important to make sure that you are open and honest about your experience because there's a lot that we can do behind the scenes. We just have to know about it. Number two, constant feedback or whistling. Now, a little bit of feedback may happen if you cover your hand over your hearing aid, almost because you're forcing the hearing aid to produce the feedback. But if your hearing aids are whistling constantly, or people are telling you they can hear the buzzing sound, something is off. Now, when it comes to feedback, I tell people that should honestly be a thing of the past with hearing aids. So, if you're getting some buzzing, it's probably one of two things. It's either that the hearing aid hasn't been inserted properly and actually needs to be inserted more deeply, or cleaning needs to happen. And that's either going to be cleaning of your hearing aid, or you can have some earwax in your ear canal that needs to be removed. But oftentimes it's the first one. Now, of course, if you're having trouble getting them in your ears or you find your domes uncomfortable, talk to your hearing healthcare provider. We can adjust it to make the fit easier, or we can also adjust some of the programming behind the scenes to reduce the amount of feedback that you're experiencing. Everything is loud, but speech isn't clear. This is a big one, and this is honestly one we see from a lot of people who have been fit with hearing aids elsewhere. If the hearing aid makes everything louder, but you still just feel like everybody's mumbling, that needs a follow up. The goal of wearing hearing aids is not volume. Our goal is clarity. Now, of course, wearing hearing aids means everything is going to sound louder to you, but it should always sound more clear. Oftentimes, when you have loudness but not clarity, it can be a few things. You may not be wearing the right hearing aid style, or simply your hearing aids may not have been adjusted accordingly. And again, I know I've mentioned it, but that's exactly why you need to see an audiologist or hearing healthcare provider who's using real ear measurements. Objectively, real ear measurements are the only way we can understand how your hearing aids are programmed and if they're set correctly based on your hearing aid prescription. Four, no real ear measurements or verification. Best practices for hearing aid fittings are going to use verification like real ear measurements. This is going to allow us to understand if your hearing aid is delivering the appropriate amount of sound or gain based on your hearing loss, the size of your ear, and your hearing aid prescription. This is an important step because everybody's ears are different. We can't take a hearing aid out of a box and put it on your ears and send you out the door because there's too much variability in how that hearing aid is working for you. Sometimes when we're running real ears, we make a lot of adjustments or none at all. But it's still important that we go through the process because we need to ensure that your hearing aids are working properly. Without hearing aid verification, a hearing aid fitting is a little bit of guesswork. And your hearing deserves better than close enough. Oftentimes, when we see people from other clinics and we run real ear on their hearing aids, it's often this unique experience that they've never been through before. And we'll often see that some of the settings are just not where they should be. And you know what happens when we set it to real ear measures? Everything sounds more clear. Now, of course, not everybody's going to stay at where we think they need to be, but at least we know the foundation is solid. Five, you leave without a plan. After a fitting, you should know when to wear them, how to put them on, how to take them off, how to use your charger, maybe replace a battery, and how to take care of them. You should also know when you're coming back next. If you walk out of your appointment thinking, well, I hope these tiny computers behave themselves, and I think this is where hearing aids fall flat is we need ongoing care. So, what's normal after getting hearing aids? Maybe a different own voice. Sounds are more sharp. There's an adjustment period, and we may still have some difficulties in certain environments. What's not normal? Pain, constant whistling or feedback, feeling like everything is just louder but not clear, and not understanding what your game plan is moving forward or when do you come back next. And most importantly, a hearing aid that was never verified. Remember, your hearing aid fitting isn't the finish line, it's the start of a process. Subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share this with somebody who just got hearing aids and is sitting there wondering, is this supposed to feel like this? Because sometimes the answer is yes, temporarily, and you'll get used to it, or no, we need to go get that adjusted.